Hi, thanks for joining us tonight. My name's Rachael Telleen. I work for Touch of Grace Hospice. Also joining me is Chaplain, Pastor Anita. You know, I knew that was going to be a problem as soon as I started switching. Minister Anita, Windom.
Glad to be here.
Thank you for joining me. It has been a long day. We're going to be talking with you tonight for the next 25 minutes, talking about hospice. I know the word hospice can be very scary. Our goal tonight is to talk a little bit about it, take away some of those myths, also address the spirituality that goes along with hospice. That's one of the services that is provided, and that is why Minister Anita is here to join us.
Yes.
So we actually welcome you to call in if you have any questions. This is a live call-in show. We can be reached at 312-738-1060. Also, throughout the show, if you have questions that you may not be comfortable asking over the air, we do have a 24-hour number that's available 7 days a week. That number is 708-499-3400. We also have a website that provides additional information. That website is www.touchofgrace.net. All right. So throughout the show, I'm going to kind of ask you some questions. We'll, provide some more information about hospice as we go along.
Absolutely.
But could you share with our viewers, why do you see spirituality, in addition to, maybe I should back up a little bit. So hospice is for individuals that have reached a point where their illness can no longer be healed by traditional medicine. And so the goal of hospice is to provide comfort care. There's certain services that are provided through hospice that includes a nurse, hospice aide to help with bathing, social worker, and it's all managed through a doctor. Another part of that service is the spiritual aspect of it.
Absolutely.
So can you share why you see this? Why is this such an important part of hospice compared to, for example, home health? Because that's not a service that a family would receive.
Well, actually, spirituality is a very important piece because it helps one at a really critical time in their lives. It puts them in touch with inner peace. Whether that comes by way of processing what's going on with a person on the inside. Are you feeling fearful? Are you feeling angry? All of this is spirituality.
Right.
So it's the processing of what's going on with an individual on the inside that sometimes affects what's going on with them on the outside.
We have seen that with some of our patients. Some of our patients have appeared that they've been in pain, and the nurse has done everything that she can think of to manage that pain, and it's not until the spiritual aspect has been addressed that we really do start to see that patient
Absolutely.
at peace.
Absolutely. Many times people are going through spiritual agitation. What's going to happen to me? Is there an afterlife? Have I been forgiven? What's going to happen to my family? Things of that nature that have to be addressed.
That's a scary time.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
our goal is to take that fear out of it.
Yes.
And provide that comfort.
Absolutely.
Not just in managing the pain, physical pain, but in managing whatever spiritual pain.
Absolutely. Emotional grief is terrible. So what the chaplain does is comes in and provide comfort for the soul. And we know that in our soul is our will, our mind, and our emotions. So if my emotions are overtaking me, it may be a little difficult for me to receive the physical care that I'm receiving medically.
So what types of services are you as a chaplain providing? Because it's not just to the patient, correct? It's to the family.
Absolutely. I provide services to the patients and family as well. Sometimes the family members are going through a very difficult time. This is a difficult time when you have to adjust to a physical situation that you've never experienced before.
Right.
So many times I provide services for the caregivers. We direct them to caregiver support group. We want them to stay healthy and healed as well. Spiritual support consists of pastoral duties. serving communion, reconnecting people back to their individual spirituality. Sometimes people have been out of touch with their congregation. So I will go and get the priest. I will go and get the whoever I need to go and get to reconnect one back to their spiritual roots. That's a beautiful thing.
One of the things we really encourage, if there's viewers out there that have had a positive or even had a hospice experience, we encourage you to call in. One of the most powerful things that we know from other families is that when individuals hear about other experiences, it's much more powerful than Chaplain Anita and I trying to share share that experience. Hearing from families directly really is a wonderful thing. So we invite you to call in. That number again is 312-738-1060. One of the other things that A Touch of Grace Hospice also provides is a 24-hour prayer line.
Absolutely. We do provide a 24-hour prayer line, which makes us very unique. Because there's always someone available if one needed to call in and just to have someone to talk to. We know that prayer is communication. So whatever form of communication is needed, we have that put in place to provide as well.
Okay.
24 hours.
That's wonderful. So throughout the show, we're going to also share some more specific information about hospice. One of those being that hospice is free.
Yes.
There's, a lot of, when people are hearing about these wonderful services, a lot of times people just assume that, it must be expensive. It's not something that they can afford. So they just assume that it's not something they can receive. So we want to make sure that throughout the next 25 minutes, people are hearing that these are things that, if you have a loved one that might be appropriate, this is something that they could receive.
Absolutely.
That number, if you do have someone that you're thinking of, that you may want to pass information along to, that number is 708-499-3400. Like I said, someone's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, one of the things that I understand that you're also involved with is a bereavement support group.
Absolutely.
So can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Sure. We're very proud to say that at A Touch of Grace Hospice, we do have support groups that meet every second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 8250 South on Cicero. Now, we meet at 6 o'clock p.m. and sometimes we have different speakers that come in and educate our bereavement participants on some of the things that they're feeling. A lot of times people don't understand what they're going through. The process of grief can be very difficult. You never experienced it before, so you're not sure of what you're feeling. So we have an educational piece with that, and also we have our support group participants that are there to support each other. And I really encourage, it is an open support group, so I encourage anyone that is going through any type of bereavement to come and join us. There's so much healing within the support group.
You know what, I'm going to put our website back up again. Because on the website at www.touchofgrace.net, our address is located. Our address and information on the bereavement support group are available. So if this is something that you're interested in and would like more information, you're welcome to call either the 708-499-3400 or go to our website, which does list that address.
Absolutely.
All right. One of the other things that I know A Touch of Grace Hospice provides that you're integral in making sure that happens is what we call a celebration of life.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Can you share a little bit about the celebration?
Absolutely. Once a year, usually in the month of October, we have what we call a celebration of life service. This is when we invite all of our family members that have been bereaved for 1 year or less to come and fellowship together. What we do is we have what we call a time of celebration, a time of remembrance. And it gives the family members an opportunity to meet other family members who have gone through what they've gone through. It gives them a time to fellowship. We laugh, we cry, we have a balloon releasing ceremony. It brings closure. It's just a beautiful time. And then afterwards we eat and fellowship together. And this has been very successful. And every year, as I stated, in the month of October, we go forth in what we call the Celebration of Life ceremony, and this really have been great.
Yeah, I've participated, and I know just from watching families that have attended, it's an amazing thing.
Yes.
You know, families are sad, but there's a different component to it.
Yes.
It's a grieving process,
Yes.
but it's a good feel.
Absolutely. To fellowship with others.
Yeah. So one of the other things I did want to mention, this is something we hear frequently. People sometimes think that hospice is somewhere that they go. And we want to clarify that that's not the case. Hospice takes place where the loved one is. So for example, the majority of the families and the patients that we provide services to are at home.
Absolutely.
It's not to say, though, that if that loved one is in a nursing home, that those services can't be provided in a nursing home, assisted living facility. But hospice goes where the patient is.
Absolutely.
So if someone's receiving hospice, they don't go to another place.
Absolutely. Sometimes people think that hospice is a place where you go when you die.
Yes, we've heard that.
But hospice is a service that provide comfort, that provide care at a needed time in your life.
You've talked to so many families. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of families. And you must have seen families coming on at so many different levels of where they are in the process. How do you explain to families that may be really hesitant, they're scared of hospice? How do you address it to provide them with a little bit more peace as far as what it is they're getting into?
Well, we provide the information of what hospice is. And as we stated before, we just let them know that this is not a place where you go and die. And death is not a word that we want to focus on, but we want to focus on comfort and care.
The quality of life.
Exactly. Quality of life care.
Right. And that's what this overhead really focuses on. Hospice does not mean anyone has given up. And that's not going to be something that anyone who receives services through a touch of grace is going to feel.
Absolutely.
Absolutely no one is giving up on them.
Absolutely.
And Chaplain, we have a call. Caller, you are on the air.
Yes. Yes, my name is Dorothy Somerville.
Yes.
And I was accidentally scanning the TV and I saw this program on.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognized Anita, and I just wanted to say I'm so glad to see you.
Aww.
And she has helped me so much. And I go to the support group because I lost my spouse and my daughter. And I'm so glad to see her. And I'm very grateful for everything that she's done for me.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Somersville. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
for
God
calling.
bless you.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Oh, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
And we have another caller. Caller, you are on the air.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Listening to the show, I just happened to tune in. I know so many influential people, and you ladies seem so nice. I really want to get in touch with you. I've tried to do this hospice service before in my church, and I'm wondering, ladies, what is a number I could reach you ladies at personally to volunteer?
Wonderful. I'm going to put it up on the screen right now.
Thank you so much. I have so much free time.
Wonderful.
Oh, wonderful.
Well,
You know what? God bless me with a sense of humor, and humor is good medicine.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes it is.
So that number
Yes.
is 708-499-3400. Volunteers are a huge component of
Yes,
hospice.
absolutely.
There's no way we could provide the services that we do without the wonderful
volunteers,
volunteer
yes.
support that we have. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
That would be greatly appreciated. So, from the families that you've worked with, what are some examples of how you've seen a Touch of Grace hospice either help a patient or a family, or even a church, work through some of those struggles or issues, without, sharing too much information, but just in general? Are there things, from families that have kind of started and where they are when they begin to maybe where they are when the transition does occur?
One of the things that it does is it prepares in a healthy manner. Because what we do understand is that when a patient is having some physical challenges, we do understand that that patient is grieving because of a loss that they're experiencing as they're going through this physical challenge. And we also understand that the family is going through the same challenge. So what we do is we prepare them in this journey. We start the grieving process of loss of decline of health. We're looking at dad, and dad cannot do what dad used to do. That's grief. That causes grief. So what we do, we come in and we begin to right away put some things in place to begin to help the family as they go through this process. So that's what makes hospice, one of the things that makes hospice really unique and outstanding, is that we have something in place for when the journey begins.
Right. Because that is a difficult time. Because
Yes,
it's not something we are prepared for.
Absolutely.
All right, we have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, my loved one's very ill. Is no longer connected with the church, and I was just wondering if hospice could help.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, that's something definitely that we see all the time. That is something. Now, what we understand is that many people are not connected with the church, and so what we want to be understood is that we're not offering a church service, but we're offering spiritual support. So when the chaplain comes in and gives that spiritual support, not a church service, which puts the patient in touch with, as I stated earlier, with what's going on the inside, and some of the questions that they may have that would prevent them from receiving the peace that's our goal for them to have, is peace. What we don't want is we don't want the patient or the families to have a tormented spirit. So yes, I would be able to come in and to provide the spiritual support that is needed if your loved one has not been in touch with the church. I am the church.
Thank you. All right. One of the things, we do a lot of education at a Touch of Grace Hospice, and we're always looking for opportunities in the community. We actually have a community liaison, Anthony Walker, who goes out and speaks with a lot of churches.
Absolutely.
What do you recommend if there's a pastor or a chaplain watching the show and they know someone in their church? What would you recommend to them? How would you, because I think this is a difficult thing for even pastors to bring up, that they see someone in their congregation who's struggling, who can probably benefit. How do they bring it up in a way that's maybe something that's easier to hear?
Well, the one thing is that I think education is the key. Sometimes we fail to put the natural with the spiritual. So if we put the natural, which is the educational component, with our faith, then we will get results. So that means that we have to be open enough to allow, if we don't have the education, we have to be open enough to allow those that can come and educate the congregants to what's going on, to what's available, the services that they can receive. We have to allow the educational component to be.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to put up our phone number. First, we do have a caller. Caller, you're on the air. Hello.
How old do you have to be to have hospice?
Great question. I think a lot of people assume that hospice is only for older individuals. Unfortunately, situations happen with people of all ages where an illness may occur that can no longer be cured. So A Touch of Grace Hospice has provided hospice for, I think, 21 and up or 18 and up. So there's no, it's not for those that are just seniors.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunately for anyone who, well, fortunately, it's for anyone who can benefit from those services.
Absolutely.
And thank you. That was a wonderful
Yes,
question.
absolutely.
All right. I am going to put our information up again. For those people that might be listening, if there's a chaplain or a pastor that may have someone in the congregation that may need some additional help, maybe they've not been coming to church for a while, the pastor's aware that there might be an illness, maybe you have a neighbor that you know can't get out anymore, having a nurse come to the house instead of that individual trying to get to the doctor. These are individuals that may benefit from hospice. So that phone number is 708-499-3400. And like I said, someone's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to answer questions. There's absolutely no pressure or obligation. Our goal is to provide education, and that's what you will receive if you do give us a call at that number. We've had some wonderful callers tonight.
Have.
So thank you for watching and listening. We do appreciate it. One of the things, and we've kind of addressed this a little, but we're almost out of time, and I would like to bring it up one more time, if you don't mind. That whole concept that hospice is scary. How do people get past that? Do you have a recommendation for you personally? I mean, we've seen it firsthand, so we know. I mean, I think we can all acknowledge that at some point we are all going to transition, and I guess the goal is to get from one step to the other as comfortably as possible. And in my opinion, that's how hospice can help. How would you help families?
I think that I said this before, and I will just talk about this a little bit more. Again, we know that people are going through a grieving process during this time of physical adjustment. To be able to come in and to provide services that will carry a person throughout their journey in terms of denial, in terms of being angry, in terms of bargaining, in terms of going through a depressed state, and getting them even to a point of acceptance that this is happening, and preparing them for the adjustment that is about to occur.
I think for some people it's almost a relief once they understand, and they can relax, and they do enjoy the time left. You see families, not just the loved one, the families are just in a better position. They're in a better place.
Yeah, and it gives you time with your loved one.
Right.
To
Celebrate.
It brings closure and celebration, and it's really beautiful. It's
really
a
is.
beautiful thing.
Well, we do have one more caller. Caller, you're on the air. We only have a minute left, so I don't want to cut you off, but do you have a quick question?
Oh, I just have a comment. I was flicking through the stations, and I seen Touch of Grace, and I wanted to encourage all the listeners. If you know someone, whether it be family, friends, please try the service. Sister Anita, thank you. Sister Anita, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
Well,
so welcome.
This is Daryl.
Oh, Daryl.
I know you know my voice.
Oh,
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
And everyone listening, please
Take care. Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
Well, I can't think of a better way
my
to
goodness.
end the show. Daryl, thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate everyone's
Oh, my
calls.
goodness.
And thank you, Chaplain.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated.